Key, in which 2 years, 941 days, you don't play the game of basketball, in which you've torn an ACL in one leg and you've torn an Achilles in the other leg. It takes away from your burst that you have to do things off the dribble. So, look, and you can kind of see that at times with the explosion, the lack thereof that Klay doesn't have when he's able to attack the rim. So in last game when he was 4 of 19 from the field, he was 1 and 8 on catch and shoot opportunities, right? So if his shots aren't coming off catch and shoot, you're forcing him to put the ball on the ground. Now, granted, he missed some chippies in game 2, but you much rather increase the probability of him attacking the rim and trying to finish over the top of people like Al Horford or Time Lord and finish with that dexterity around the rim, because that's not what Klay does. Klay is a momentum-like scorer, and he needs to have momentum-like minutes or moments in order for this team to have a legit chance to win the NBA Finals. Because
when you say that, you mean he has to catch fire, get his touches? What do you mean?
Momentum? For impactful moments in the game, right? When Klay is able to knock down 2 or 3 threes, right? That creates momentum. And it alleviates pressure for Stephen Curry to have to carry the load. Now, Jordan Poole got his thing going, but he didn't get his thing going until they were up like 15-20.
But, Jay, why every time I'm watching it, though, and I hear what Coach Van Gundy said, and I certainly hear what you say and educating me on all the different things and the injuries and being able to have the explosiveness and use your legs and all those sort of things. But he's, to me, from what I'm watching as an eye, he's getting to the cup, which to me says he's blowing past people. He's getting clean looks. They're just not falling. And when I asked you that, I don't know, a couple of days ago before the series started, and you kept saying to me, "No, Key, he isn't the same guy." And I'm saying, well, how could that be? He just knocked down whatever it was the last against Dallas, the 30-plus points or whatever it was that he put in there. He looked fine.
So Key,
there was nothing wrong.
So catch and shoot, like a lot of his shots were contested, right? But when he gets going offensively from a shooting perspective, you have to close out so much faster that you're typically off balance when you close out, which opens up lanes for him to get to the rim easier. But what I've been trying to tell people is that he's playing against a mirror of his younger self. When you're going against Jaylen Brown, Klay Thompson's 32 years old. Jaylen Brown's 25 years old. Extremely athletic, right? Marcus Smart, 28 years old. So you're playing against younger, faster, laterally people. He can still get the job done, but he just needs to have bigger moments in these games, and it can't be all the offensive responsibility on the shoulders of Stephen Curry. It can't be.
Could it be that he's just in a slump and struggling right now? Because coming off the Dallas, what was it, game 5 or whatever it was, coming off that game, and he went nuts. So could it just be he's in a slump or struggle? Because it's certainly not based on experience, because he's been here multiple times. So the being in the finals is not something in awe. So could it just be that it's a slump and it's not falling? Because look, man, the dude ran past the dude, got to the cup, and missed a chippy. To me, that ain't had nothing to do with no 30-something years old and no legs.
Key, I mean, if I'm an athlete telling myself I'm definitely in a slump, it's nothing that Boston is doing. That's what I'm telling myself.
Okay.
But it is the cumulative effect. Your first year back, Key, after not playing basketball in 2 years, and we're so many games deep into the season. We're at the NBA Finals. That's a lot of heaviness
days, more than 2 years.
On your legs. So that plays into it as well. And I'd much rather, if I'm Boston, have Klay attacking the rim with those heavy legs than getting hot from the three-point line on catch and shoot.
I want to go back to something you said, though, that relates to that point. You said a mirror of himself in Jaylen Brown. Maybe in terms of the job description, right? A wing who can defend and shoot and all that stuff. But Klay Thompson, as you know, I know about shooting form, Jay. Klay Thompson is like the purest. When you just look at someone shooting a ball, that is so. Klay is ridiculous, right? And you look at the results. Oh, Steph Curry's the greatest shooter of all time. I mean, what's Klay? Top 5? Because his handles aren't Steph, so he's not as much of a mobile artillery unit.
So funny, Coach, is I love the argument now. He done dropped down to the top 5.
Right.
3 years ago, it was him, Ray Allen, and Curry. Now it's like, well.
No, I'm saying, but I'm saying you want to say Reggie Miller, you want Dirk Nowitzki, whoever you want to say, Klay is right there among the greatest shooters who ever lived. And Jay is capable of getting hotter than anyone ever, right?
Agreed.
He could throw 37 points in one quarter on 2 dribbles, right? So what I'm saying is just because he and Jaylen Brown fit the same description, from when Klay is young, but what Klay can still do is catch and shoot, right? Like, who can do that better than him ever? So that threat remains, right?
Oh, the threat is there, but you need the threat to come through when you need it the most. We're talking about, sometimes, Key, I don't think people recognize, and I'm not saying that Klay can't be prolific. And by the way, there's so many slight levels of degrees that we're talking about. So me saying that Klay has not been himself, like, even if that's a degree off, that's a major difference from where he was, right? So it's almost like Klay has to find other ways to get himself going offensively, see the ball going as a layup really quickly, get that rhythm. But you can't have him be 4 of 19. You can't have him play the way he's played if you're going to win an NBA
If I'm
Finals.
facing a team with Klay Thompson on it and it's knotted up in the finals, and especially as the series progresses, if it's a close, tough series and it's knotted up later in the series, the scariest thing in the world for me, if I'm on the other team, is like, Klay hasn't had one of those games yet.
1,000%.
Because when he goes supernova, it's a wrap.
But there is something, according to Boston's defense, that is limiting him to being 1 of 8 on catch and shoot opportunities, right? There is a reason why Boston has him in positions where he is 4 of 19 from the field in game 2, even though he hit a momentum 3 that kind of helped ignite Stephen Curry. But like, you're winning if you're Boston in that particular category with him, right? For right now. Look, you're making him do things off the dribble.
Right.
That's what you want to do.
Make him put the ball on the floor, make decisions with the
1000%.
ball. Yeah.
You want him to take fadeaway shots over contested people. You want him putting the ball on the ground. And look, he makes those shots easily, but I'd much rather him take shots off the dribble and try to finish at the rim